Hi friends, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. This is the last video of the 4-star general. Well, until I quilt the quilt. But today we are going to finally put our blocks together with some sashing and our fancy little borders that we just got done making. And we are going to build this quilt. I just want to show you that this is the amount of scraps that I had left from my fat quarter bundle. So you can see there's quite a bit of pieces here just by looking at the salvages. So that is my scraps. I will use those towards another project. And the rest of my scraps was these littler pieces. So you see that there wasn't very much left to cut from. And then even littler pieces, these are the unsewn ones, and these are the sewn ones. So I have all these little scraps that I can take and make something else with because, you know, there's always room to make a second quilt with what's left over. So the first thing that we are going to do, and I'm just going to get right to it because you're right here and I'm right here and I'm ready, is choosing your light background color for your sashing, or a dark background color, or anything you want. The sky is the limit. You can make your blocks float by using a light color. You can make them pop like me using the black, or you can do whatever you want. I'm also going to be skipping the step of putting cornerstones in on mine. I don't need cornerstones because I'm using only black fabric, so I will just be hooking my strips together continuously and putting them on. So with this 4-star Generals Revisited, this pattern, let's get this put together. First thing is I'm going to just throw those aside because I rolled them all up and that's how I was storing them. I'm going to put them up here, and then I'm going to take this feller and I'm going to stick it up there. And we're going to focus on our blocks and my black fabric, which is towards my sashing and cornerstones. Even though I'm not using cornerstones, I'm going to continuously do fabric, as well as my borders are also going to have this black fabric. Really, I'm telling you, it's a lot of black fabric, but it's going to look amazing. So I am going to just straighten this fabric up, and I think I have a nice straight cut already. So I'm going to go ahead and find my ruler and cut 2-inch strips off of here. And we're going to cut about, let's look, let's see, 7, 8 maybe strips. Let's see. All right, so we're going to cut 2-inch strips. I'm going to line this up. Everything was already lined up on my fabric from my last cuts. So I'm going to make 1, 2. I'm getting 2 at a time because I have my fabric folded on top of itself. We're going to cut 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to cut 10. How about that? 10 pieces. 7, 8, and 2 more. And then I will pull out some more black fabric towards my borders. All right, there's 10. And my borders I'll just pull some more because I'm going to need more. All right. First things first is we are going to, our blocks should have came out 13.5 inches. We're going to check them. Okay. And we are going to cut, actually I don't even want to cut, I just want to sew them on here. There we go. We're just going to take an end right here. We're just going to make this easy. I'm going to take an end. I'm going to cut the selvage off, actually. Come on. And we're just going to start sewing them to all the blocks. And I'm just going to do the fold and trim method. That way they're all exactly the size of every single block. But it does say to cut your sashing to be the size of your block. I, on the other hand, don't like to follow directions. And I like to tell you not to follow directions too, right? You can do it the way of the pattern, or you can just follow me and do the build the block at one block at a time, or one sashing at a time method. All right. Maybe I'll just cut all these off. Make it easier. All right, so I'm just going to line all these up. Make one nice cut. Getting all the selvages off at the same exact time. And it's falling everywhere. Ah, there it went. All right, one more. All right. There we go. It's all ready, yay! Okay. Just gonna stack these up. We're gonna bring them over to my lap, and I'm gonna bring these over to my lap. And I am gonna put a sashing between two of these, and then hook 3 together. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this right sides together, lay it on here, and with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm gonna sew it on. Just like this. And when my whole entire unit is up on the table, I'm just gonna flip it up, line it on top of itself, and make the cut equal with the block. And then this is the next one. So this will get a sashing piece. So again, same procedure. I'm just going to lay it on here and sew it on. Just like this. And once the whole thing is on top of my table, I'm going to fold it on top of itself, lining up both sides of that sashing piece. And then I'm going to cut it to size. Okay, then we're going to split it. And these should still be in order of the month, but if you wanted, you could switch your blocks around. I'm not going to, but if you wanted to, you can. And now I'm going to line these up and sew these together. Oops. It would be nice to do it on the sashing. Just going to line the ends up and sew it together. Just like that. And I'm going to finger press towards the black on everything. Just giving it a finger press. And I am using black thread with mine today. All right, and then this is getting finger pressed. And the next block is this one, so it's going to go on here like this. I'm just going to sew it directly onto my sashing piece, lining up my end. Just like that. And I'm not using my knee lift because I have fabric on my lap. All right, so here is row 1. There's row 1. And then I'm just going to set this down over here, out of the way, and we're going to work on row 2. And I have my chart because I'm following the chart. You don't have to, like I said, but I am. So the next blocks are this one. Again, I'm just going to take my sashing piece. I'm doing the same thing. each and every time. Just lining up the sashing, sewing it on until I get to the end, and then I'm trimming it equal with the block. Once it is on the table. Oops, it missed a little ding. So my little piece from that, so I'm going to get 3 sashing pieces per strip unit. And then this is number 2, so it's going to get one. Just going to look at my chart and make sure, and it is. So we're just going to grab another sashing piece, going to line it up and sew it on. So while this is sitting right here, I'm just going to put the 3rd piece for that row on top and sew these together. Lining up my ends from the block. I'm going to finger press this towards the sashing. And then I'm going to take this one, finger press it for now. I'm going to iron these rows as soon as they're all together before I attach the rows together. That way I have a really good measurement for how long my in-between sashing is going to be. All right, these 2 now go on top of this one. I'm going to sew down this side now. Lining up my end. Finding this to be equal. There we go. All right. Now that's on there. And for now, I'm just going to finger press it towards the sashing. So here is row 2 already. Just like that. Just going to stack it over here. Out of my way. And we're going to work on row 3. So it looks like this, that, and that. Okay. So they're still in order for me from when I piece them together in the videos. Okay, gonna trim it. I'm gonna take the next one, put the next piece on. Fold it on top of itself and trim it. All right, I'm going to snip these apart. I'm going to put the 3rd piece for this row on real quick. Just going to put it on there. I guess it doesn't matter which direction they go because none of my stuff is directional. right, I'm just going to finger press it just like that. And we're going to put this one on this side right here. Just going to turn it around and sew it on, and then just remember that I got to flip it back around. All right. For now, I'm just going to finger press it just like that. And I'm going to lay it on my pile. And now I have 3 more left to do. Let's make sure. Yep, this is next. This is next, and that is the last. Okay, so pretty sure I cut enough sashing strips so that I can hook the rest of them together and go down the middle of each of these, connecting them together. And if I have extra, that's okay, because I don't mind having extra. Okay, let's run this one through. Once it's on top of itself, cut it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add that third piece on here. Like I said, it doesn't matter which way you put your blocks, but I don't know what I was going to say. All right, those two are together now, and then we just need to add that first one, and then we're going to turn the iron on and get these pressed. So this one is now going to go right here. Lining up my ends. And then finger pressing towards the sashing. So these strips are going to get hooked together now, end to end, so that they can be sashing in between. But first, let's press. Okay, while the iron is warming up, I'm just going to go ahead and hook these together. Oh, I don't need to. It's pretty much the length of the block because I'm not doing sashing. Look at that. So I just need 1, 2, 3 of them. And make sure we toss this, and then these ones can go towards, I have no idea. They could just go towards something. I'm just waiting for the iron to warm up so we can go to the next step. Okay, next step, pressing them. Now to sew the in-between strips on. So this should go pretty quickly. So here's one strip. We're just going to put it on the bottom of this right here. I'm going to sew this on. And if it's too long, I'll trim it off at the end. Oops. Would help if I could hold these things in my hands. All right. There we go. I ran out of bobbin. Okay. I'm going to press this back, add the next one to it, and press that back, add the next sashing, and so on until they're all together. Okay, that one is now on there, so I'm going to go ahead and press that towards the black. I'm going to go ahead and leave those over there, and I'm going to go ahead and add a sashing strip between this and then that, and then we'll put the two of them together. So again, another sashing strip, right sides together. I'm going to go ahead and press this back. And we're going to add this last row on here, just like this. And it should be the same exact size. You can pin it if you want, but mine came out pretty darn accurate. Just going to make sure, I made sure, looks good. I'm just going to sew it on. And I'm not pulling and tugging anything. I'm just laying it on here. The only thing I'm slowing down for is to make sure that the seams are staying the way they were originally pressed. Okay, so now I'm going to press that. All right, now that this is pressed, I'm going to take my final sashing piece, and it's going to go right here in between my 2 and 3 piece. So this is the 3rd row, this is the 4th row, and then my 1st and 2nd are over there. I'm going to add this on here first, press it back, and then put the top part on. Now, to add the top. So this is the top piece, that's the bottom, right sides together. They should be exactly the same size, and they are. So now I just need to sew them. And then the last thing is to add the borders that we made. Okay, so the top and bottom is together. All I need to do is press that back. that is what we have so far. Now to go around it with our borders. Okay, so for the next borders, we're going to work those with these borders right here. I pulled out some more black, although I have some right here. And I don't know why, to me, it doesn't look like the same black. You may have to go look. Sometimes they're not the same. They were not the same because I grabbed this one and this one looks better. Even the selvage edge almost looks the same. I do order black from different companies, so, and I did start this a year ago. So I'm just going to get to it. So I'm going to cut off some black. We're going to do 3.5-inch strips, and I need like 6 or 7 of them because these are my side borders. We're just going to lay these up here. All right, I'm going to go 3.5 inches. So I went ahead and cut 6 3.5-inch strips, lining up the selvages so that they can be cut off all at the same exact time, or mostly at the same time. I probably should have pressed all this. Be right back. Okay, it's all pressed. Next step is to put these 2 of them together. So my 3.5-inch strips are now being put together, 2, and then 2 of them will stay whole. So 1 and a set, 2, so 4 of them technically are going right sides together, although it doesn't matter because it's black. Okay, so these are hooked together. These will become the sides, and these are the 2 pieces for the top and bottom. Okay, so here's my top. I'm just going to hook this to it. Right sides together. It's a little bit bigger than it needs to be by, I don't know, like 2 inches or so. But I'm just going to hook this one on here. Now I'm going to go to the top and hook that one on. Okay, now to press. All right, let's get this top and bottom pressed. Okay, now that those are pressed on, we're just going to grab one of these. Just going to open it up, and this is going to be way longer than I need. That's okay. I'm not cutting it to size or anything. I'm going to cut it to size after I sew it. And I do this method with my borders all the time, and I've not had a problem, but you can go ahead and measure at this point all these borders on, measure your quilt top, and then attach your borders. I'm just doing it this way because this is the way I'm doing it, and I'm filming this for you guys, and I'm totally not going to really edit this much. I'm just going to leave it as is. swap it around to the opposite side. I try to put the top in my lap as I'm doing this. It kind of helps it from falling too much and yanking and pulling. We don't want to yank and pull on anything. We're just laying it on here and sewing it on here. And then trimming at the end. Now to press it back. Now it's time for all those borders that we made that took forever to make. So I'm going to scoot this down. I'm going to take one of these really long borders and go on here and see that it is the size it needs to be, and it is. So I'm going to go ahead, and I don't normally pin, but these I'm going to pin on here. So I'm going to do the sides first, then the top and bottom, because I think the top and bottom are a little bit bigger than they need to be. And we're just going to make that work with cornerstones. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and pin this on here. All right, I have it clipped on, and what I'm going to do is sew this on here, just like this. So I'm doing the sides first. So once that's on, I'm going to go ahead and press this towards the black background, towards the other border. So I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to pin the other side on. That's not going to work. It's slightly too short. Oops. So to resolve that problem, I'm actually going to add a little 3.5 by 1 inch strip on both ends. This quilt is going to be far from perfect, but I'm going to still put it together because I didn't do the math for the borders like it says to do. Add this, subtract that, blah, blah, blah. I suck at math. I leave it out. So if I have to add a little piece of fabric to make up for it, I will. And that's what I did. And now it's the perfect size. So is anybody going to know I did that? Maybe. I mean, it is a little tiny black sliver right here, but honestly, I don't think so. Because all of my background is black. And if all of yours was white or a light color or whatever, I think it would be perfect that way too. I'm just going to trim off just a tiny bit of this end. There we go. And a tiny bit of this end. After all, it's fabric, and it can be sewn back together again. So I'm going to go ahead now and press this back towards the back, my border piece, my black border. Now for the top and bottom. And what I'm going to do, stick all this in here now. What I'm going to do is go over to the ironing board and leave this over there so that I can measure. I'm going to lay this up here. Like this. And we're going to take our other border pieces and we're going to lay them on top. And what I'm going to do is add a piece to each end, and it looks about, we're going to take a measuring thing and go, it's about 3 1/4, 2 1/2, so I just need to slide it the opposite way. We're going to put a piece on each end that's 3 1/2 by, we'll just go with 3. And I'm going to do this with both pieces. Because they're all going to be about the same. So what I'm going to do is attach these pieces onto the ends of my border, and then we're going to center it by folding it in half and then attaching it. So let me sew these on real quick. Okay. Once they are sewn on, I'm just going to press them back towards the black. And these will not be centered, but that is okay. Because I don't need perfection. I need finished. But I obviously didn't do the math. So what I'm going to do is these pieces, I'm going to fold them in half and find the center like this and say, okay, this is my center. And then on the quilt top, I'm also going to find the center and mark it. Like this. So this is my center. I'm going to create a crease on it. Open it up, and I can see my crease very well. I'm going to take some clips, and I'm going to lay my piece on here. And I'm going to find that center and line them up. So this is my center. That's going to go on here. This. I'm going to clip it, and then I'm going to straighten out both sides. Clip it on. Come over to this side. Clip it on. And then add a couple clips in between. And then I'm going to take it over and sew it. But before I do that, I'm just going to do the opposite side because those are clipped in place for now. So I'm going to go ahead and find the center. Create a crease. Open it up. Take the center of this. Lay it on there. Grab some clips. And clip it on. I'm going to sew these on. one side, flip it around, and do the other. Right, now to press towards the black again. That looks fine. Now I'm going to straighten up my edges. Okay, now that that's done, I'm just going to go ahead and cut some 2-inch strips off of my black. And I'm going to go the rest of the way, all the way around one more time with 2-inch strips to finish it off. So I'm just going to move this out of my way. I need to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to cut 6 2-inch strips. Here we go. I had 4 pieces already, so all I needed to do was cut 2. And I am just going to hook all these end to end now. And I'm just going to start putting them around it like I usually do with borders. So I'm just going to keep them all in one stack, pull out the bottom. Oh, well, maybe if it would help if they were all stacked with the selvage in the same direction, which they are not. So I guess I'll just do it this way. How did I do that? I don't know. I'm just going to grab this end, put the next one on, and so on and so forth till they're all hooked together. Okay, so it's time to grab the quilt top and put this last and final border all the way around. I'm going to just sew one side on, fold it up over itself, trim that to size, and do that with all 4 sides. So I'm going to start with the sides and then do the top and bottom. Okay, now that the sides are on, I just need to press these back and then add the top and bottom and we'll be done. Now to press those back, and I'll show you the final reveal of the 4-Star General's Revisited Quilt by Kindred Spirits Yellow Creek Quilt Designs. Woo! I never get that. Anyway, let's press this, and then I'll take you to the living room and show you what it looks like. Okay, so there, my 4-Star Generals Revisited by Kindred Spirits Yellow Creek Quilt Designs, all done. This was my sew along with Quilts from Quilts on YouTube. It is complete. I'll bring you up and show you. My lighting in here is not very good right at this moment, but you get the picture. It's super bright. I will quilt this at a later date. I'm most likely just going to quilt only the black background and outline all the blocks. So if you go by month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then for month 13, we did all the border pieces, and today you watched me put it together. There it is, all done. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed all 13 months of that sew along and 14 videos in total. I will long arm quilt it in a totally another video, but I will add it to the playlist. But right now, I don't have time to long arm quilt. So I'm going to move on to another quilt and another sew along. So I want to thank you guys. Don't forget, you don't have to follow my directions 100%. I just threw mine together all willy-nilly. It's good. It looks great. I love it. I love the bright colors, and I can't wait to quilt it and have it completely done. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.